Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Reddit Raisins. Before we start on today's topic, please like and subscribe to this channel and click the bell button below for notifications when I post. Let's continue with the video. Am I the bad hole for telling my autistic brother the truth when he asked me why women don't like him? I've got a younger brother, 24, with Asperger's, and he's very high functioning, albeit with his quirks. Recently I've moved back home during the stay-at-home orders to look after my parents. My brother still lives with them. I find out he's been trying to date in recent months and confessed it's been pretty unsuccessful for him. He even got to go on a first date, but his date literally got up and left after about a half hour. I know exactly the reason why, and it's not flattering. For one thing, my parents coddled him since he was a kid because he was on the spectrum and was the only boy in our family. My mom in particular always told him he was smarter and more advanced than everyone else who's neurotypical. This has led to his belief today that he genuinely is smarter than everyone else, especially women who he thinks are inherently irrational, illogical people. So I know how he interacts with women like me or his other sisters. He tends to say very hurtful things first, and when we get upset, he will then say things like, "You are being irrational / hysterical / illogical. I'm just being honest, and you can't accept it." This is like his catchphrase over the years and drives us absolutely insane. Anyways, when he asked me, I basically said, "Listen, the truth is your way of talking to women can come across as extremely demeaning and borderline sexist." I told him he acts like he can read every woman perfectly when he's pretty much always wrong. This struck the wrong nerve with him, and he later complained to my parents that I attacked him over things he can't control. Now I'm in hot water for ruining his confidence, and I feel both bad and kinda relieved at the same time. This was the first time in my life I told him how annoying his behavior is, because growing up our mom always blamed us whenever he got upset. But maybe I was too harsh. Am I the bad hole for telling him what I said? Not the bad hole. He asked and you gave a reasonable answer. It doesn't even sound like you were being unnecessarily harsh. Also, it's kinda hilarious that he calls women irrational, but he loses it after being told the truth. I'd stop coddling him. His autism doesn't give him a free pass to be a jerk. Edit. Spelling. Sorry bro, I'm just being honest, and you can't accept it. Stop being so hysterical. I couldn't imagine at the age of 24 still ducking out of these conversations to tattle to your parents. There are some situations where obviously getting your parents' attention is important, but I'm genuinely curious what he expects their parents to do right now. It's a combination of his autism and how his parents coddled him that made him tattle when he was attacked. They did exactly what he expected them to. They made it not his fault and blamed the sister. The sad truth is his autism might make it impossible for him to unlearn this now, but he will never get the chance if they don't start letting him take responsibility. It's eternally wild to me that the dudes who are like I'm so logic AL and you're illogical don't seem to understand the logic that people don't want to spend time with someone who insults them and behaves like a jerk. This so much. It's the same crowd who are like facts don't care about your feelings and then rant on incel forums or MGTOW about being unable to get a girlfriend. I often wonder where that level of self-awareness deficit comes from. Seems wrong to attribute to autism and poor theory of mind, although that does seem to come up. Is it sexist entitlement? Being raised by parents who are pushovers? Lack of decent male role models? American high schools? I wanna know which factors are most prevalent. He asked. Autistic people on Reddit are always saying that they wish people would just be forthcoming and honest about these things. Your parents are the ones who really suck here. They have done him no favors by raising him like this. I'm an autistic person on Reddit and can confirm. Honestly, my life would have been a lot better growing up if anyone, including my family, had ever told me that I was the asshole. Someone did eventually, but not until like college. And now that I've taken the steps to learn about other people and how to interact with them, I'm horrified by who I was. Not the bad hole. If you don't tell him, some other woman will. I think it's better coming from someone that actually knows him, or else he could just write it off as an illogical response from some angry woman. Could it have been done more tactfully? Maybe. But I think your brother is dangerously at risk of being an incel if you aren't straight with him. Autist here. Tactfulness might not matter to Op's brother. We do tend to strip things down to their content, so if Op had been more tactful that is sugar-coated it, then the brother would likely have misinterpreted or kept asking questions to make Op be more and more specific until he said the tactless version. BTW, a lot of the autistic community is like this. People like to ignore it and pretend it's not their fault because criticizing those with disabilities is frowned upon, but I, female, see this a lot. Pure logic equals good, no exceptions, crossed with public/media conscious and subconscious opinion of women being emotional and illogical, crossed with an inability to evaluate sources well often ends in autistic males having this personality trait. They also often subsequently decide they are being discriminated against unfairly and are the victim of the situation, making themselves hateful incels in the situation of their poor dating success even worse. Not the bad hole. You didn't insult him. You gave a dose of truth. If he wants to be in a relationship, he needs to fix his attitude towards women. Agreed. Ask him if he would want to be in a relationship with a woman who talks to him the way he talks to them. Give examples of things he said. When he says he wouldn't want that, tell him it's just logic, that women don't want that either. Not the bad hole. Your parents have raised him to be a sexist narcissist and now he can't find anyone to put up with him. You are actually showing him more love telling him the truth so he can change than your parents do sheltering and lying to him. Check his internet history, he might be looking at incel stuff. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised he wants to date women since he's so sexist and narcissistic. Not the bad hole. It's not confidence that he has, it's a mislead false hope instilled by his parents who don't want to admit to him that real life might be harder for him. They have the best, loving intentions, but they are creating something that will hurt him more than the truth will in the long run. The word arrogance comes to mind. Even if he were objectively a more logical person than others, that doesn't make it okay to lord over people about it, and it doesn't mean he gets to freely disrespect others who he sees as less rational. Definitely not the bad hole. Sounds to me like he's one of those socially awkward neckbeards who call women females and refuse to take them seriously because he legitimately thinks he's more intelligent. Now, I can understand some of that. Despite being female myself, I had a long time when I felt like in general women were illogical and overly emotional. I never believed all women were like that, just that it was a trait more common in us than men. I also was incredibly arrogant, and at one point unfortunately legitimately believed I was smarter than most people. I've been humbled a lot, but even now I catch myself thinking someone is stupid without considering their background or the many areas in which they are most definitely smarter than I am. Your brother both being coddled and on the spectrum means his thinking is far more black and white on the subject than it should be. He deserved the reality check, and hopefully coming from someone he knows loves him will make it sink in. Here's someone who has been diagnosed with Asperger and add. Having Asperger doesn't mean you're more intelligent than other people. Your mother has done the most awful thing you can do when raising someone who is on the spectrum, making him believe he's special for being on the spectrum. In fact, his problem doesn't seem to be a part of Asperger, but with being a general asshole thanks to upbringing. Thinking less of other people is not a symptom of autism. Thinking women are illogical and irrational is not a symptom of autism. Being so lazy as to blame the world instead of changing yourself is not a symptom of autism. These are things that have been taught over the years thanks to your mother. The only thing to change him is if people stop treating him like he's special. You're not the bad hole for doing that. Not the bad hole. I'm autistic myself, and I hate it when autistic men think they can use their autism to get away with being straight up misogynistic, like I'm attracted to girls too, but I'm aware sometimes I can get boundaries/social norms wrong. So I always make sure I pay special attention to people's reactions so that I don't make people uncomfortable if I'm trying to flirt with them or something, because I hate the idea of making someone Uncomfortable even by accident. Seriously, as a guy with Asperger's I used to be completely unaware of how often I unknowingly made the girls I liked uncomfortable. I honestly can't recall who or what made me realize, but ever since I've been terrified of accidentally making somebody I like uncomfortable again. Sadly, it oftentimes makes me come across as insecure, which I guess there's a seed of truth to, but honestly I'd rather get rejected for being too cautious of the other person's comfort than not being cautious enough. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe to help this channel grow. Take care and stay safe.